All right, welcome back guys. So in today's video, I want to show you guys how you can take any old vintage lens, put it on a camera, grab an idea, walk out and shoot images like this. And let's start by rolling the intro. Before I jump in, I want to quickly apologize for not uploading for a few weeks. I was swamped, covered in some video projects, but those deadlines are done and I'm back. And another small topic I want to address before we jump in is the aesthetics. I know that not everybody is going to love these images, or maybe you don't even want to shoot images like this, but even for those people, I hope you hang around, and I'm going to be talking about the vintage lenses and the gear. So I hope to provide anybody watching something of value they can use in their own photography. I remember from my own past that I spent a gazillion hours on YouTube watching tutorials, watching people shoot, and sometimes there were these topics that I never found videos that really spoke to me or that really gave me the information I wanted. And one of these topics is on how to use these like any random vintage lenses and shoot high-end images, not shoot the vintage looking images, but really like stuff that could be used as editorial, or we're also going to be putting them on a high-res camera, proving that these old vintage lenses really do perform well in 2020. And as YouTube has given me so much gold information, I really hope that I can offer you guys some of that in return. Then let's talk about the gear that I used for this shoot. So I put on two lenses, but the first lens I put on was the Sigma 24mm super wide Mark II. This is a Minolta MD mount lens. Has buttery smooth focus. Focus throw is about like 180 degrees, which allows for very precise focusing. And it also focuses down to, I believe, 17 centimeters, which is a half a foot approximately. Aperture from 2.8 to f22. It's made in Japan and it's really great. It's not the most sexy lens, but it gets the job done. And I really believe that it doesn't really get the credit online that it deserves. It has a 52mm filter thread, which for me was really convenient because I only have two Pro ND filters, which is a 77mm and a 52mm. So I could pop that one on. And I'm going to explain later why it's really important that you use this kind of ND filters to get these kind of images. Next piece of gear, the camera. The camera I used for this shoot was the Nikon Z7. It's my beloved high megapixel monster. What makes this camera so great in comparison to other cameras is mainly the sensor stack. So if you're going to be adopting wide angle prime lenses to a modern camera, what you really want to take into account is the sensor stack. And as the Nikon Z7 and the Z6 have one of the thinnest sensor stacks you'll find, you'll notice that just adapting these vintage lenses works like a charm. Another awesome feature when you're adapting vintage lenses to the Nikon system is that the body has in-body stabilization, and we can assign a custom function button to toggle between the different focal lengths. So if you're switching vintage lenses, you can push the record button. When I'm in picture mode, I programmed the record button to let me enter the mode and toggle between the different focal lengths, so I can really quickly change between different vintage lenses. This function also applies to both the Z6 and the Z7. Next up is the adapter we're going to be using. So I'm using this pretty cheap K&F concept adapter. They're dirt cheap on Amazon. So hop over there, you can find them. It's the Minolta MD to Z adapter, and they'll easily let you mount the Minolta on the Z. And I also have the M42 adapter for the next lens we're going to be talking about. And then probably the most crucial part of this setup we're going to be using is the ND filter. This filter is a key component into making images like this, mainly because the ND filter is going to allow us to balance the natural light versus the flash. So when we're shooting a scene like this where we're having the subject backlit by the sun, we're going to have to overpower the sun with our flash. And I'm even packing a 600 watt flash here, which we'll talk about in a second. But even that won't be enough if we're going to be trying to get this in high-speed sync. So when we're shooting high-speed sync, what our flash will do is it'll try to pop multiple times to give us an even exposure. But as you're doing this, you're losing a whole lot of flash power. And it's going to be the ND filter that's going to allow us to balance the image and to give us enough flash power to actually counter the sun. And then of course we're going to need a flash that's going to be powerful enough to, let's say, overpower the sun. I don't necessarily like that word, but we're going to need a flash that's going to at least balance our lighting there. And for that I use the Godox AD600 with the extension head. So this allows my assistant to have the flash itself on the side, and he can actually use the lightweight top and not having to be holding these 5 kilos out the whole time. And as a diffuser, I put the Godox AD600, the extension head, I put into the Phottix Easy Up umbrella. But I'm filming my video on this right now, so I put my lights in there, so I can't really show it. And actually the whole initial idea of this video was that I was going to take you guys outside with me. We were going to shoot outside and I was going to explain the whole process, what I was doing there. But the audio got lost. So I came home and eventually I noticed that I recorded nothing at all, which was a bummer, but I'm going to walk you guys through this way then. So the specifics on the gear we're using right here is I have the remote head of the Godox AD600, and as you can see it's crazy windy out here, so I weighed down my flash tripod with the rest of the gear, hoping it will not fly away on me. Little magic trick I do to block the flash from flying away is I have these little paper clips and I clip them on to block the flash right there into place. 600 sitting in the bag right there. Right now set to channel 1 group A. Just pop it back in there and ready to rock. And that's all about the gear we used. So let's jump into the shooting process. Here I want to take a small moment to thank the crew I had with me. So Sarah, thank you for being an awesome model. Glagerson, thank you for assisting and helping us out there. And my friend Kenny, really thank you for being there. I really appreciate you guys all helping me out getting these images out there. So if you're considering levitation photography, the two most important things are going to be your model and your location. And for this location, I went around biking here in the neighborhood, and we're close to the water there, and I found this little pond, and I noticed that the water was not so deep and we could put in a little stool, and I thought it would just be great. But you can do it anywhere, so you can get creative inside using a couch or a chair. So as we have the sun setting right over there, and we have a beautiful piece of water, the first thing I'm going to try to do is we're going to try to catch the sunset behind the model and try to start there. So for shooting a levitation photography, we're going to need at least 2 or 3 shots. So shot number 1 we're going to try to get with the model in there, and then we're going to overlay that with the second shot without model or flash or anything. So that way, afterwards in Photoshop, we can delete the support and the chair that we can see right there. So that all that stuff, we're going to erase it afterwards. But just do take notice that this kind of shoot takes a bit more preparation than your average portrait shoot. Next topic you want to consider is the preparation. So are you going to need an assistant? Do you have a model? Do you have all the props you need? are you prepared for the outside weather? And for this shoot, none of us were prepared for the wind we had. So we put up the softbox, it fell to the ground. We had Kenny holding the softbox against the wind, but like every time we had a gush of wind, we had to put back the lighting. So I think he was really tired at the end of the day. So again, thank you, Kenny.
Sarah, meer slappen in de benen. Knieën een beetje omhoog en tenen naar beneden. Als dat gaat. Ja.
At this location, I was just checking the shot and I was kind of like framing the shot and figured that I wanted to go with the 24. So as I put that one on, I popped on the ND64 because I knew I was shooting in bright sunlight. Next thing you want to do is really fix the camera position. So we're going to be placing the model. We're going to need to eventually stack up multiple shots. So I put my camera in the water, and the first thing I did is I made one clear shot. So no model, anything in the shot. I just wanted to know what's going to be my exposure. So the settings I had here were ISO 64, I believe I started, but I upped that to 80 because I saw my shutter speed was below 100 and I kind of like wanted it approximately 100th of a second. And I had the aperture on the lens set to f4. Unfortunately, I don't have that in the metadata because the lens is not chipped. The reason I chose the f4 aperture is because I wanted a good balance between sharpness and still a little bit of background blur. So here you can see the test shot I made, and you can see that I drastically underexposed the image. I did that so I could have like a huge added drama, and I knew that I was going to be lighting my subject Sarah with the flash. And as it's a 600 watt flash, I knew I could overpower the sun and we could create something really dramatic. So for the composition, I put the sun behind her, and then I kind of like sandwiched her between the flash and the sun, which gives added drama. It's a bit of an unnatural kind of light, but that was the look I was going for and I kind of like it. Next up is a flash power. So for balancing the flash, I often use 3 techniques, or I start by guessing. Let's say we put the flash to half power, you take a test shot, and then you up or down the power according to how much light you need. Not flashing your flash at maximum output, you do save yourself recycle time. So if you want to be shooting more shots in a row, a lower flash output will allow you faster recycle times. Or you can shoot TTL, then your flash will fire a pre-shot to measure it, but also you'll lose flash power. So for maximum flash output, the manual mode is the most efficient. And the third method you could use is using the flash meter, which I often do, but for some reason in this situation, it's kind of fast paced and everything is changing so quickly. And I just like to stay put with the camera. And as I had my camera put in the water, I would prefer to stay there just to make sure it didn't fall because of the wind. And otherwise I'm running back and forth measuring the light and it just wouldn't be efficient. So here the most efficient way was I just put it on manual, I put it on half power, I took 1 or 2 test shots, I changed the flash power accordingly, and I was ready to rock. So now we have everything set up correctly. So our lights are set, our model's in position, and our camera was set from start. So now we can start shooting. As we're shooting, we usually just run through a few poses, and as I have that one image that I really like, I scream stop, we get everybody out of the water, and I took one more image from the exact same camera position we were on. So you have one image with the model and the lighting and everything in there, and then behind that in GIMP or Photoshop or whatever, you put the other image, and then you can start by erasing whatever you don't want to see, or by cutting out the model and putting her back into the clean frame. And as you can see in this image, we always have 2 choices, is or you erase everything you do not want to see, or you cut out the model and you stick her back into the clean frame. And then after that's done, we can consider this new frame as being a new image and we can edit from here. And from here we can start color grading, adding noise or clouds or even a little mist. And here I added a few water effects to make it a little bit more lively. So that's for the first image. Then let's go to the second little series we made. For this series, I switched lenses and I used the Pentax Super multi-coated Takumar, the 17mm. And this is kind of a specialty lens. So it's a fisheye lens. It was built in 1973. It's a maximum aperture of f4 to f22, has 6 aperture blades, 11 lens elements in 7 groups, has a really close focus capability, and the most awesome part about this lens is internally you can select 3 different filters. So you have a yellow filter, a standard UV filter, and a red filter. And actually when you're turning the ring, you can see them change inside. And as the sun was going behind the horizon, I could use this lens without an ND filter. For the shot itself, I got pretty close to the water just to exaggerate the perspective. And this series of images, we made them in just a matter of a few minutes as everything was set up anyways. It went really fast. And it was really cool, so I think everybody was happy. The shooting pace was pretty high here. And as I had the shot I wanted, I shot another few empty frames, so it was really easy to edit out Kenny in the softbox. So in the edit, I did straighten the horizon. I took out the fisheye effect a little bit in this one. And I kind of played with the colors, making them or really dramatic orangey or bluish like you can see. But in the end, I'm really happy with the results we have here. And that's it for this explanation on how we levitated Sarah using 2 different vintage lenses on the Nikon. Again, to Sarah Gleiberson and Kenny, thank you guys so much for making these images happen. And also a thank you to everybody watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'm really grateful to see you guys subscribing to my channel again. So if you liked the video, learned something, please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, just link them down below. I'll be happy to answer. And I hope to see you guys back in the next video. Peace out.
Okay, so I think we kind of wrapped it up here. Everybody's freezing his ass off. Everybody's like, we're all barefoot and it's freezing cold. So we're gonna wrap up, and I'm gonna try to do everything of the rest and explanation of what we just did back at home, because I can't do it anymore and it's friggin' cold. For the viewers, you have an Instagram, and where can we find you?
Sarah Knight.
So Kenny's a photographer as well. So say a word.
Guys, this was a hell of a photo shoot. Freezing my feet off, but it's good.